La da ba bit bit dit hey right. Now I was going to do an hour of show tunes. As soon as I started scatting, knew it was time to stop. Welcome to lecture, where are we? Number 9. Yeah, there was no lecture last week. I had to take a week off. Medical reasons, doctor's advice. People don't fully understand the stress involved in putting on these lectures. You give it your all. You really do have to put your life on the line to a degree, And after 8 weeks, my doctor said there was a serious danger of me blowing up, of a complete shutdown. Oh, golly gumdrops. How are you doing? What have I been doing? God, as I said before these lectures, it's hard to know. I know how honest you can be in any given situation, and when you're just rambling on, talking with a view to putting it on YouTube, thus making it available for billions of people to access, should they desire to. It's hard to get that thing out of the back of your mind saying, can't say that, can't talk about that. But no, I've been struggling lately. Oh God, yes. I was going to say it's been a tough month, but that wasn't my excuse in January, and now we're piling through February. But on the plus side, it hasn't rained every day this week. Oh, it hasn't rained all day every day anyway. I've never been one for this seasonal affective disorder, because I quite like to be depressed in the summer as well, So I don't like to limit myself to the winter. But for some reason, for the first time I remember in my career, this winter's really fucking got to me. The constant rain. I don't need to really add to that. That's what it's been, the constant rain. I remember when I was at Mazon a while back, it seemed like every single time I can remember going outside on break or whatever, or at the end of the shift or the start, every single time I remember being anywhere near that building, it was just fucking teeming. Tipping it down, pissing out, cats and dogs, fucking chucking it down. Corporation pop. And I spend a lot of time staring out my kitchen window at the moment, so the weather is key to the view on that one. But we've had a bit of sun, and I had a few walks on the beach this week, which I needed. And it did make me think, yes, I'll be able to, do the old outside broadcast soon. Go and sit on the beach and do a lecture. Sit in the park and record a lecture. And I thought, that'll open up the avenues. Sit in the park and just describe what's going on in front of you. Because, I haven't, I wouldn't say it's the reason. I did record some stuff for a lecture last week, and it was sort of football related, but by the time it was due to come out, it was already from a game which is a week old, and I don't know. And then on Monday, when I was due to see my producer, I ended up going to see one of my other mates. It was absolutely blowing a gale, and I'd walked halfway across one side of town. I didn't really fancy walking across the other half of town. And then I was going to go on Tuesday, and oh God, I don't know what's happened. I think because I've spent so much time staring at the window, I haven't really had time to do anything else, which is tricky. Yeah, but it's like, I'm trying to be happy here. Do you know what I mean? Trying to be happy and positive. It's Saturday morning now at the moment. Nice day. Yeah, got my daughter coming later. Perfect timing, actually. She's coming, after about half hour into the Swans game, so it'll give me enough time to get into that before she turns up and demands I turn it off. So yeah, so the first half hour is good. I think I could actually partly blame my daughter for no lectures last week, because I was going to do them I was going to record some stuff on the Saturday night and then on the Sunday night. And she was deciding to wake up every bloody hour. She used to be such a good sleeper. Just thinking about that super nanny. I have to get super nanny round. But yeah, good luck with that. Apparently if they won't go to sleep, you just, every time they wake up, you just go pick them up, don't say nothing, put them back into bed, walk out quietly, shut the door. Well, you try out with my daughter, she'd be flipping out the door and flipping up the stairs before you. And that'll be the 50th time, so that's going to be a good laugh. So yeah, so I was aiming to record some stuff then, and I didn't get around to it. I'm, what's the word I'm looking for? Circumnavigating the realities of life. May not have meant what I wanted to, that. Yeah. Looking forward to the spring and all that. I really am this year. I only live about 5 minutes from the beach. And, sometimes just to get out of here, walk or go over the beach and just walk along the beach when you haven't got another human being within hundreds of meters. You can still see them in the distance, they're there. So it's always nice. It's a nice summing up of my life, really, You're part of the human race, you are, look, they're all around. But you get a lot of joggers, because they're like a promenade that goes from town all the way along the coast down to Mumbles. You can walk all the way down along the prom. So obviously it does tend to attract a lot of people cycling and jogging and and sometimes you just want to go over there and have a bloody fag, man, with all that going on. People running about the bloody place. So I look at sometimes I look at somebody jogging, I think, bloody hell, because I'm so unfit. It makes me feel out of breath just fucking watching them. I'm at that age now, I think. 46, I think I am. Keep having to work it out. But yeah, if I could get fit now over the next few years, I could, I could sort of relatively be physically alright for the next however many years, potentially, if I don't, get ill. Or I could spend the next 4 years sort of battering my body further into the ground. So by the time I'm 50, I'll have the body of an 80-year-old. I'll have the emotional maturity of a sort of 14-year-old. And that will be quite a good laugh. It'll be a good little combination. Good little combination, that. It's weird because, when you're 40, 46, you can think, well, I remember my childhood in school. That seems like about fucking 10 minutes ago. And because how quickly the last 30 years have gone, you know that, fuck, wait there, if I don't die before I know it, I'm going to be in my fucking 70s, bear. Do you know what I mean? It's why I get so, not angry, I can't be bothered to get angry anymore, but, with all this Illuminati stuff and fuck, life should be like, it should be to some degree like one big ongoing fucking festival. Do you know what I mean? With people doing sort of useful things as and when required. That's what it should sort of be like, really. Do you know what I mean? And, the powers that be or whoever, what they're attempting to turn life into is nothing short of a disgrace, really, is that? You're either trampling all over people to get to the top, or you're being trampled all over, or you're just trying to get out the fucking way. It's... Has it always been like this? I suppose it has. I suppose it's just technology now. Communication and all that just allows people to find out what's going on further afield, doesn't it? I can imagine like a few hundred years ago with the slave trade or whatever. And you'd be reading on Facebook, some slaves would have flipping sneaked a phone. They'd be taking photos of fucking slave ships and videos of people who were ill being thrown overboard. People being just thrown fucking food out of a big bucket of stale porridge, thrown into their cages. I saw a film once about slave trade, and it was just, the bit I remember, it's quite an old film, like it was made in like 60s or 70s. And the bit I can remember, possibly the 80s, was when they were on the ship. They were on the ship, obviously being brought from Africa to America, I presume, or Africa to somewhere. Unless you stop and think about the realities of it, they would have been just peacefully going about their day, and a load of fucking pirates or whatever would turned up, sailors, or fucking would have turned up on the beach in a boat, and fucking thousands of them would have piled off with fucking chains and clubs and fucking whatever else they had, guns possibly in them days, I don't know, guns of some description, and I would have just started lathering people, rounding them up and throwing them onto cages under the decks of these boats. And these people being captured wouldn't have known what the fuck was going on, because it would have been the first they heard of all this business. And, obviously then they'd have been under the deck of a ship, a huge ship, with hundreds, potentially thousands of other Africans piled into these ships in appalling conditions, and they would have then sailed for weeks and weeks, fucking wherever they were going. The whole place would have just stunk, and it would have been, conditions would have been foul down there. And I remember in this film, they went around like this big, huge bucket of like porridge. It looked like it was some sort of fucking gloopy mess. And they just had like a ladle, and they throw fucking spoonfuls through the bars at each flipping individual person or whatever. And if there was somebody who was ill, they wouldn't bother wasting any food on them. They think, right, well, they're ill, they're going to fucking... There's a large percentage of people would die on the journey from disease and fucking getting battered and whatever else. And then they would have arrived somewhere and then been taken to a fucking market and then sold. To go off then, fucking God knows where to, what potentially could be a horrific fucking life. I know, and a few weeks before, or a few months before, you'd have been, you could imagine sort of your average African, fucking, was it 300 years ago or something? Between 200 and 400 years of slave trade, wasn't it? I think it's about 200 odd, isn't it? Or 200 odd years since it was abolished, I think, isn't it? But yeah, you can imagine the average African about 300 so years ago would have been living a relatively simple life, one would imagine. Which would have, basically revolved around fucking food, shelter, shagging and drumming. So like I said earlier, life should be like a sort of festival, an ongoing festival. And I imagine for those Africans, that's what it would have been. They were gone out hunting, and they would have flipping built a shelter, then they would have, made some tools, and then they would have done a bit of shagging, and then they would have had a bit of a party where they would have been drinking some sort of juices that had worked out, got you hammered, or a load of mushrooms or whatever, some flipping hallucinogenic parties would have been going on of some degree, one would imagine, and and I would have thought, apart from stopping themselves getting, eaten by animals of varying degrees, or, fighting with other tribes sometimes, probably. I'd imagine they quite enjoy their lot in life, generally. And they would have gone from that, percussion-based existence to the terror of being captured. Because at certain points in history, I'd imagine, right, people being captured would have had no idea who these people were who just fucking turned up. They'd probably never seen any non-Africans, and there would have been a load of fucking European freaks who'd have just fucking probably sailed for fucking months themselves, so they wouldn't have been looking like, the most fucking peaceful bunch, would they? And yeah, in the early days, people wouldn't have known what the fuck was going on, but I imagine there was some point later on in time where, when people were getting captured as slaves, they would have known what was going on, they would have heard it happened flipping from the village down the road, or it happened, a generation before or whatever, do you know what I mean? So at some point they would have known, oh fuck, here come those cunts. And they would have been running literally for their lives. Unbelievable. And yeah, when the slave trade was abolished, I think this was, I'm sure I can remember the 200th anniversary of it being abolished, but maybe what would that be, 18? I don't know, yeah, maybe, but when it was abolished, when they did decide, maybe this isn't fair, somebody came to that sparkling judgment eventually, and so all of the slave owners were given a big payout, It must have been like flipping, the PPI of its day, you know what I mean? Have you had your slaves taken off you because it's illegal? You can claim your money, you can claim X amount per slave and all that. And that's how a lot of these people got rich, a long time ago. And that money's still filtering on through their families now, the cunts. Oh, bastards. Yeah. So life should be like a festival, but for a lot of people, it just ends up you feel a bit of a fucking slave. Watching a very interesting news article going on, yeah, about this Zika virus. Virus normally passed on by mosquitoes. First locally acquired case of Zika virus in Texas. So these mosquitoes are passing on this virus. Transmission most likely through sexual contact, right? Fucking hell. So somebody's fucked a mosquito then, is it? disease linked to outbreak of birth defects in Brazil. All right, Brazilians. They bang anything when they're so sexual. Is that right? That's what you see in it, the images and the Copa, they're like, right, can all of, there's like a big tannoy thing goes off. It's like, can all fat people and ugly people please get off the beach? Because we will be filming shortly some footage to pass around the world, creating an image of Brazilians as a gorgeous race. Can fat people leave the beach in 2 minutes, please? The Zika virus is a Zico, see? Babies born with brain defects. Seen some of them the other day. It was, looked like they had skull defects, not even brain defects. There was like part of the skull missing. It looked like horrible business. But yeah, so there's mosquitoes. I think I said this on Facebook the other day. They have now got mosquitoes flying around the place, poisoning us. So our babies will have birth defects. And people are worrying why I don't take my long-term job prospects seriously. Fuck's sake. So who shagged the mosquito then? Yeah. Always the same, innit? Always the same when you ask who shagged the mosquito, and it's always the big fucking silence, innit? You don't get a peep out of no cunt. The transfer window's shut anyway, thank fuck. Just have to keep the real windows shut now, keep the Mozzies out. Just glad the fucking Sunderland Mozzies didn't sting you. But yeah, mosquitoes. Excuse me. So mosquitoes, I don't get that though. It's transmitted sexually. A mosquito bites you and then you have sex with somebody. And the mosquito bite can be passed on through you having a shag. It's like some sort of weird orgy of death. Some bestiality with insects, or is it be a different term with that? Yeah. What is the term for having sex with an insect? Obviously with your normal animals, it's bestiality in it, but is there a term? Or have I just created the need for a new word? Is there an actual word for somebody who's sexually interested in insects? What an interesting question we've raised there. Yeah, so what have we discussed then thus far on today's journey? You know, got to try and avoid being a slave in this world without becoming a slave owner. And there's probably, these things used to be far-fetched notions. There is very probably plans going on at levels we have no real understanding of that deem our lives completely worthless and disposable. And if these things are sort of slowly fed in, they've obviously realised that the human mind or brain or whatever is generally very easy to control and manipulate, especially if you have every possible means at your disposal to do it. And, and a passion to do it, and however twisted, a fucking reason to do it. Just heard something now, about these sort of camps that are being built secretly. I say, see, this is where I always fall down on these issues. These camps that are being built secretly in America, but I happen to know about it. Like, where they're gonna round up, homeless people in their tens of thousands in America and just take them there to basically exterminate them. As part of the people running the fucking show are like, right, there's just too many fucking heads about. We've just let this get completely out of hand now. There's, I think it's 7.4 billion people on the planet. Which, the only reason I know that, I had to Google that to make one of my tweets accurate. Which was thanking the 3.7 billion females on this planet for not managing to knock me up a Valentine's card between the fucking miserable fucking lot of them. So yeah, I had to check the world population for that, 7.4 billion. And people in charge aren't having that. They're like, fuck this. Most of them are of no use to us. We don't need them to make anything or build anything or do anything. And they're just, they're not making us any money. They're just disposable. It sounds like such a fucked up notion, right? But since I've worked in call centres, they're like sort of microscopic versions of the planet, really. Where if you put a greedy fucking cunt in charge and make them all powerful and all controlling and have the entire operation based around making money, regardless of whether you're doing any use for fucking anybody, the entire thing is based around generating money, mainly for the the master, and using whatever means, fair or foul, to actually pay as little as possible to your slaves, really, your paid slaves. I read before, if you're working, and, you're working full-time and the wages that you earn aren't enough to cover your basic fucking living expenses, that's just a form of slavery. Do you know what I mean? You're working not even to be able to afford to live. This is the position I'm in now. I'm trying to get into a job which will allow me, even though I'm working, not to be quite able to afford to have any sort of life. With the alternative, I was put on ESA for fucking depression because unhappiness doesn't count on the, as an illness. Constant unhappiness. Are you constantly unhappy? Oh, you'll be alright, man. You'll be alright, summer's coming. But if you're living on benefits of any kind, regardless of what the media will have you believe, if you're a single person anyway, I can only speak for my own situation, you're living off fucking fresh air, mate. You really are. And, if it weren't for the fact that I got people, who will help me out from time to time, I would probably be fucking homeless and stealing to get by and in and out of court and blah, blah, blah right now. Because I can't get any credit from fucking anywhere. My credit rating is fucked. I can't get any credit from anywhere. So if I'm skint, I'm fucking skint. When you're living off fucking peanuts and you're acting like a fucking monkey, you are going to end up being skint. And that is just depressing in itself, do you know what I mean? my first thought every time I wake up, I'm like, bang, you know, I just go through these things of, right, have I got any money? What have I got to pay today? What's this? What's that? It's like my mind is blank every morning. Apart from this sort of list of sort of panicky questions, and I can't think of the answers naturally, and I have to lie in bed for a minute and think, work out where I'm at, like, you know, and like run through a sort of checklist of by what day is it, right? What's the fucking problem now? And fucking wearing me out. You know, so I've been struggling to get a lecture together this week, to be honest with you, because the last thing you want to do is put a lot of miserable fucking nonsense on there. I mean, but it's not. These are facts. These are fucking facts of. These are facts. Well, these are my opinions anyway. There's not many facts you could include in that. But you know, I definitely feel under attack. You know, not personally, but as a member of the human race, it's like fuck, you know, some people are just so fucking dark, aren't they? You know, in amongst all this poverty I've created for myself, I got somebody who owes me money I used to work for, who's like probably a millionaire. You know, he used to tout himself about as a multi-millionaire. And he owes me money, and and it's not Nev, that's everybody will presume that. But, you know, I've been messaging him on Facebook, you know, trying to get, like, you know, a relatively small amount of money I'm owed of somebody whose money is probably no object to today, you know. Ah, God, and you can't just go around and stick bloody knives in people willy-nilly, can you? Do you know what I mean? It's not gonna go down well. You probably need a very long knife in here with this fat cunt, but you know, he's like saying all the right things, and then, you know, not dismissing it. Do you know what I mean? But fuck, it shouldn't have happened. Just get it fucking paid. Jesus Christ. But, you know, I need to find a way of not being reliant on all this crap, and, you know, I feel like, oh God, you know, I need to plug myself into this machine that they've created and just shut my fucking mouth. Do you know what I mean? Because I can't fucking stand it any longer. Do you know what I mean? This is why you lot are causing a lot of this, you know, by not sort of sending me a tenner a week to listen to these lectures. You know, we could do away with all this bloody ESA nonsense then. I've always said all I ever want is like fucking about £1,500 coming through the post every Friday morning. That would do me. £1,500 cash coming through the post every Friday morning. Yeah. But, you know, you lot, as I say, letting yourselves down. Just, yeah, go on. It's turning into these lectures are turning into some sort of poverty porn for you lot, and that. You said that thinking, why don't he just fucking go and get a job then, the fucking idiot? Do you know what I mean? Why don't you fucking do something? Oh yeah, good point. That is a good point. Oh God, it comes to something that when waiting to go back in the zone to become some sort of robotic fucking person is you know, looking like my escape route out of this hell. This hell of, you know, freedom of time, but coupled with poverty. And fucking dole is wasted on the skin, isn't it? Yeah, so it's been a lovely lecture today. I thoroughly enjoyed it, uplifting. I found it. I don't know about you, but yeah, we've covered some really uplifting topics today. So I'm going to finish. I've made a short list of things that make me happy. Number one, bit predictable this, but I'm going with rainbows. Fucking great, aren't they? Huh? When you see one, it's like, it always gives you that split second of relief. I don't know, that for a second you're just transported into a magical world. And, you can make your own, you can draw your own. And tell you what's good about rainbows, right? When you draw your own, I don't know if you know this, you can use any colours you want. Nuts. I can still remember, I think Richard of York gave battle in vain. People always, that's how you remember the colours of the rainbow. To me, it was always like, well done, Rich, what a waste of fucking time that was. All that battling in vain. And for what? Your fucking reputation to be used as a way of remembering the colours of the cunting rainbow. So I do like to draw my own. That's one of the reasons I like rainbows. It means a lot to me and Coco as well. This used to be both of our favourite episode of Peppa Pig. It was called Rainbow, if you know it. Still my favourite, but she's got a new favourite. Another thing that makes me happy, I started off trying to make this list, and this is how fucked my head is, because first thing I thought of was rainbows make me happy, and then the second thing I thought of, I don't even know if I can say it now. No, butterfly, but I can't. Butterflies make me happy. They're not just great flying, good colours and all that, but I think butterfly in Welsh is something like pilly-pally. In French, I think it's papillon. Do you know what I mean? It's even got great names around the place. But yeah, butterflies. Maybe I'm just being corrupted by something I saw on TV last night when, who's that guy now who's been doing the Attenborough? I was going to say he's been doing those nature programmes for about 6 years now. He was on and he had a pilly-pally on his shirt, or in his hand actually, for a while. So maybe I just was thinking about that subconsciously. But they are great, aren't they? But they're moths. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bringing a fucking new revelation to the table here. I'm not pretending I am, but the moths are so annoying. Butterflies are just so lovely, and it's a fine margins, isn't it? We can all learn a lot about the difference between the human interaction with moths, the human relationship with moths, as opposed to the human relationship with butterflies. I think all humans can learn a lot about their relationship with other humans from that juxtaposition. That's all I wanted to say there. Another thing that makes me happy, I cook breakfast when you're fucking, I don't like to use the word starving, because obviously it's disrespectful to people who are fucking starving. But when you feel like you're fucking starving, and you could just go and sit in the cafe. There's a great one, I don't like to plug, things on this, on these lectures, but it's called Sam's Cafe. Yeah, quality breakfast in there, and when you're fucking starving, it's amazing. £5 now, near enough, £4.95, and that's, if you want mushrooms extra on top of the breakfast one, but with that you've already got to switch the hash brown for a black pudding. I don't hash brown, thanks. So I say, can I have a Sam's breakfast one, please? Half and half, beans and tomatoes, tinned tomatoes, please. Can I have black pudding instead of hash brown? I can have the bacon crispy, please, with a coffee. Milky, yeah. And, being a creature of habit, I always say that. Now, there's the breakfast two, which is one that contains the mushrooms, but I like to get the breakfast one because it contains the fried potatoes. So you could splash out, get the mushrooms on top of the breakfast one after doing the hash brown black pudding switch. Then you're talking about £6, and then you end up going into the territory of full Monty then, innit? And then that opens up a whole other range of greed-related issues. you know, even if you finish it, you can't help but feel a bit of a cunt when they turn up with a full Monty. Because by the time you do finish it, all the people who saw it come to the table who like, you'll never fucking finish that. They've all gone anyway. By the time you actually finish it, they've eaten their breakfast, they've gone. And they're all like going round then, back in their vans and all that. And they'll be like, you'll never fucking finish that. They'll be in the pub at night. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe what happened. What? There was this bloke in the calf today, right? He bought a full Monty. He hardly fucking touched it. Oh yeah, fuck. There was this bloke down my calf, you know, before you know it. Cafe culture, you know, that's how it started, based on bullshit, the whole thing was. Now, another thing that makes me happy, that come to my attention while I was making this list, is, oh, excuse the sniffing, it is genuine, winter. Yeah, what was it now? When one of your kids, makes you laugh naturally, you know, especially with my little one now, because as a parent, you spend, you know, whether, you know, as a parent you'll admit it, or your parents, whether anyone will admit it, I don't give a flying fuck, because it's true. As a parent, you spend a large percentage of your life, when it comes to your children, especially when they're little, just sort of basically, not lying to them, but, you know, for example, they'll do something, and, you know, and if they're having a go, whatever they're doing, you've got to go, oh, well done, oh, yeah, that's great, and, you know, you've got to big them up. And sometimes you've got to do that, and what they're doing is fucking bullshit, do you know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, I like that, and they'd be like, yeah, really, you should be going, and... You know, what is your point? Oh, so you put that on top of that. Yeah, hilarious. Which is one of mine and Coco's catchphrase, actually, hilarious. But yeah, you know, so you spend a lot of time and, you know, smiling when they do stuff, and you got to do a lot of false laughing with the little kids, you know, when they do stuff, and it's like, hey. And then you get that thing that kids do. But when something happens and they make you laugh genuinely, the look in their eyes when they can see you laughing genuinely is fucking priceless. You can see how I used to have a catchphrase with my kids, and I'll be, was it, look how chuffed you are. I think it started with Kizzy, look how chuffed you are. You know, but that natural look in your eye when you're just really happy or pleased. But yeah, but the look in their eye when they realise, oh, I just made them laugh, really laugh. You know, it's good. It shows that, you know, at such a young age, they can get such a buzz out of somebody else's pleasure. Or being self-centred, as most 4-year-olds are. If they've created that, then that's even better. And for some reason, my eye is just attacking me at the moment. Ow, it's just really, really hurting. But yeah, it's beautiful when your kids genuinely make you laugh. It's just beautiful for me as well. I love that. Coco's really funny. I was going to say for a kid, that's a bit disrespectful, but, you know, they've usually got their own humour at that age, and but she can knit together various sort of strains and events of different days to make pretty good sort of gags and comments sometimes. Very impressive stuff. But then they always go and spoil it, don't they, by doing that thing that kids do as well. They notice they make you laugh doing something, and then they do it for like 20 minutes later, you know, after. Same thing over and over again, desperately trying to get the same reaction until you have to say to them, yeah, it was funny at the time, get some new material, for fuck's sake. And yeah, the final thing that I put on my list, what was it now, is when the Swans score. You know, when you're at the football, And I suppose there's a bit of a link between all of these items I've listed here today. In as much as, for a period of time you just forget about your worries and your strife. When the Swans score, obviously unless you're like 4-0 down or whatever, if you're at the football and your team scores, and it's a relevant goal to the outcome of the match, you can't help but have that moment of what a lot of people tend to shout is as it goes in, yes. Quite a simple word, isn't it? Yes. As if, yes, that is why I came here, to see that happen, yes. And, when what you wanted to happen happens, it tends to bring some sort of joy, I expect. I think it's an eyelash I got on my eye. By the feel of it, now it's calmed down, but now it's just there. Yeah, but, when the Swans score, and that doesn't happen often either. But me, always like to end on a bit of good news. You know what I mean? Bit of good news. There's a lot to be happy about out there. All right, thanks for listening. Sorry we didn't turn up last week. Sorry we're late this week. That was my producer's fault this week. Last week was a combination of other people's faults I won't go into. But yeah, bit of luck, God willing, and the ESA, FBI, KGB, all the other various bureaus de change. Because obviously they've been looking to take down these lectures. But if they don't, see you next week. Thanks for listening. Shabbat.